Yo, no da! Ah, yes. Good old Call of the Night. I wonder when the next chapter is coming out. Oh, yeah. It ended. Okay, yo guys, it's been about a week since Call of the Night ended, and here I am with my review. If you don't know, Call of the Night is a manga series by the author Kotoyama. It does have an anime adaptation, but it only covers the first 40 chapters or so. Watch the anime or go read the manga. In my opinion, I would say complete the manga. If you're going to watch the anime, just read the manga afterwards. So anyways, this review is going to be structured like this. I will be splitting the manga into 3 parts, the beginning, middle, and end. Each part will have my thoughts on it and section of the manga to go along with it, as well as an individual score. I will also have an overall conclusion with my final score, so stay tuned for that to see what score I give the manga. Okay, ready? Let's go. Coming into this manga, I only expected one thing: smug-looking waifu vampires. I can thank Giga's video to that. Thank you, man. Speaking of Giga, it was his review on Call of the Night that tempted me into reading this manga. So another thank you to my man. The story starts off with a brief introduction to our main character, Koyamori, a middle school student who as of recently is struggling with insomnia. Despite him being a good student with high grades, he was fed up with it and decides to start skipping school, and with nothing to do during the day, he can no longer sleep. One day, during his lonesome nights, he decides to sneak out and wander the empty streets for the very first time. This is where the real story begins. Swinging, walking, falling, sitting, more walking, he decides to stop by a vending machine, and with no one around, he goes for something he knows he shouldn't be having. Trying to run away, the girl, named Nazuna, reassures him that she won't snitch on him, but immediately follows up with a question. Offering to help him sleep, she goes through the town, high-fiving adults, getting loose, and she eventually invites him over to her place. Not wanting to go home just yet, he follows her into a run-down looking ass apartment. Cause you know what all parents say, when a strange person invites you to their house, always say, yes. Inside the room was a single messy futon. After running away doesn't work again, he accepts his fate and lies down next to her, realizing that this is such a fucking stupid idea and how fucking dumb this is. I never recommend doing this unless you're in an anime or manga. He slowly starts to feel calm and peaceful. Pretending to sleep, Nazuna is revealed to be a vampire who is deeply in love with his blood, as much as I love crack. Surprised he didn't turn into a vampire as well, he makes it his goal to turn into one, knowing the freedoms of daytime responsibilities Nazuna has. The only issue being that is to turn into a vampire you need to... So he decides to try to fall in love with her so he can become a vampire, even though by anime standards, she's like over 40 and Ko is in middle school. Damn! So based off the first few chapters, I was actually really interested in what the manga had in store. I liked the romance mix with turning into a vampire. I thought that was very creative. By the way, just to let you know, this is my first vampire manga I read. So if there's another manga with the same premise of becoming a vampire through romance, I'm sorry, sue me. I can't really say more about it. The beginning did what it was supposed to do, hook readers into read more, which worked for me. I don't know about everyone else who tried to read it. So based on the openings to a manga, it laid down the groundwork and it set the basic premise. I'd give it a 10 out of 10. I understand what was going on. What could you ask for? The middle is questionably the most important part of the story, with the ending also being a tie of importance. The middle continues the pace of the story, deciding how the story will unfold. It builds tension, creates problems, and contains every single event that happens that comes up until the end. In this manga, the middle is filled with tons and tons of information and events. We get introduced to many new characters, all with different views and beliefs on what it means to be a vampire. Through these vampires, we get introduced to the main rule of turning into a vampire, the 1-year rule. This rule states that once a vampire has picked a human to turn, they have exactly 1 year to get them to fall in love after the first bite or they won't turn. This sets the stakes high since Ko has never loved anyone before and is new to this emotion. We also have human characters who all have their own problems going on. Akira Asai, a childhood friend of Ko, has recently developed insomnia too due to her life being unsatisfying because of her lack of human connection. She states,
友達も友達なのかわかんなくなる。
and started waking up at 4 a.m. and going to school early. Mehiru Seki, another friend of Ko, has a deeper issue regarding a vampire who he's in love with. Meet Kiku Hoshimi. I don't know how to say that name. I am not Japanese. A vampire who has lived over centuries and has the most underlings in the vampire race. Believing the theory that a vampire who sucked the blood of a human that he loved would also become human, she spent lifetimes attempting to fall in love with humans, but to no avail. She kept accidentally making them into her underlings. This provides us with the unspoken rule: if a vampire loves a human that they suck blood from, that human will die. This becomes really important towards the end. Regarding the Kiku and Mehiru situation, she ended up falling in love with him, and it ends on a crazy note. Isn't the night so great? In the middle of writing my script, I went outside during the night, maybe around 8 o'clock. It's winter, so the nights last longer. The weather just felt amazing. The soft breeze hitting your face as you walked around. I could see why night jogs are a thing. Besides that, this manga just has that mood to it that resonates with me. The exploration of what happens after everyone's asleep, at the dead of night, where you are truly free. Intermission break over, back to the manga. One story that has been building up since she was introduced is the Detective Anko story.
Iyo.
She is my third favorite character in the manga. This story has my favorite panel in it, by far, in the manga. Nearing the end of Anko's story, Anko tries to kill herself, but Yamori blocks it and she accidentally shoots Yamori. Thinking Yamori is dead, she immediately regrets it, and Nazuna, who was fighting previously, came to confront Anko. While arguing, we get the coldest This story is one of the highlights in the manga, so I don't want to expose everything about it, even though I kind of spoiled the ending a bit, but that doesn't matter. But come on, how was I not supposed to show you this panel? It's so fire. I might dedicate a whole video just to this story in the future. However, there are many more stories I could share and many panels I want to share, but I don't want to ruin the experience, you know? So I'll dedicate a video to that one story because it's one of my favorites. For the middle section score, I would give it a 9 out of 10. The middle is crucial, and in the manga it did a really good job making it fun and interesting, while also setting the ending up. The events taking place never fell flat. Each event had something new to offer. I never got bored with it. Moving on to the ending, and wow, it's interesting. Oh yes, the ending. The thing that everyone hates to see.
No!
The thing that can make or break a score of the story. And the thing I always have mixed feelings about. For this manga, the ending could have been better. But maybe I'm just saying that because it wasn't a 100% happy ending like I wanted it to be. But nevertheless, it was rushed. I ain't gonna lie. The ending could have had an extra 2 chapters or just more pages per chapter. It felt like all the hype that was building up to these last few chapters, the ending was so quick for how long the build-up was. I'm sad to see such a great manga end, but I knew it had to end sooner or later. I'm going to give the ending a 7.5 out of 10. The ending was good. I just wished the chapters were longer. I can't lie. Some of the panels just gave me
emotional damage,
but in a saddening way. The first panel with Nazuna on the rock, the second panel with both of them lying down, just reminded me of how this is the last chapter and how I'm going to be moving forward in my life without this manga continuing by my side. To wrap up, including how I felt, I would give this manga a, drumroll please, the score of a 9.2 out of 10. With all its ups and downs and my feelings about the ending, it's still an amazing manga that I will tell my future kids about and never forget. The journey of reading each chapter, then waiting for the next chapter, was all an experience. From the art, like come on, the art was so good. Like god damn, those backgrounds though? Damn. To the story's interpretation of a vampire romance, to the characters and the plot, I loved it all. I would highly recommend reading Calm the Night. And now that it's done, it's the perfect time. And that's all it for me today. Okay, I'm done.